Emma Harris had always been fascinated by abandoned places, so when she heard about the old Renfield Manor, she didn't hesitate. Locals avoided it, whispering about a curse that had haunted the estate for decades. Emma, a freelance journalist, thought it was the perfect story. The manor stood at the edge of the foggy town, its windows shattered and walls covered in ivy. Emma's footsteps echoed through the broken gate as she pushed the heavy door open. Dust and decay greeted her, but she felt a thrill unlike any other. Inside, the air was cold and still. Her flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing furniture draped in white sheets and portraits whose eyes seemed to follow her every move. Emma shivered but pressed on. As she explored the second floor, she noticed a faint humming. At first, she thought it was the wind, but the sound was rhythmic, almost melodic. It seemed to come from the old nursery at the end of the corridor. Emma hesitated before pushing the door open. The room was empty, except for a small rocking chair moving back and forth. She stepped closer, heart pounding, but the chair stopped. A cold draft swept past her, whispering something she couldn't understand. She tried to convince herself it was imagination. Yet the mirrors in the hallway reflected shapes that weren't hers. Shadows darted at the edge of her vision. Every instinct screamed at her to leave, but curiosity held her in place. Suddenly, a soft giggle echoed from the staircase. Emma froze. It was childish but eerie, sending chills down her spine. She called out, "Hello, is someone here?" Only silence answered. Her flashlight flickered and the humming grew louder. Emma turned to leave, but found the door she had entered through was now sealed. Panic rose as she banged on it, but it wouldn't budge. From the corner of the room, a pale figure emerged. Its eyes were hollow, and its fingers stretched unnaturally long. Emma stumbled backward, heart racing, but the figure didn't approach. It simply watched, tilting its head as if amused. Emma grabbed a nearby candlestick, ready to defend herself. She whispered a prayer, hoping it would offer protection. Suddenly, the figure vanished. The room was still, but the rocking chair continued its slow, ominous sway. She rushed down the staircase, but the manor seemed endless. Corridors twisted unnaturally. Doors led to rooms she'd never seen. The whispers grew louder, now a chorus of voices calling her name. Emma realized she was no longer alone. Shadows moved independently, circling her as if aware of her every thought. The temperature dropped, her breath visible in short, frantic puffs. Finally, she saw a window at the far end. She ran, throwing it open, and leapt onto the overgrown garden below. Pain shot through her ankle, but she scrambled away from the manor. Breathless and trembling, she looked back. The manor stood silent, yet the windows seemed to glimmer with unseen eyes. Emma knew she would never return, but the whispers followed her for nights afterward, reminding her that some places never truly let go. Lucas Bennet had always been drawn to the supernatural, so when he inherited the old Ashford estate from a distant relative, he couldn't resist exploring it. The villagers whispered about disappearances and strange lights, but Lucas laughed it off. The mansion loomed on a hill, shrouded in mist. Its walls were cracked, and the gate hung on rusty hinges. As he stepped inside, the heavy wooden door creaked ominously, as if warning him to leave. The interior smelled of damp and decay. Cobwebs clung to chandeliers, and the grand staircase groaned under his weight. Every step echoed through the empty halls, making him second-guess his decision. In the library, Lucas found shelves of ancient books. One bound in faded leather seemed to hum softly. He reached for it, and the air turned icy. Whispered voices filled the room, though no one was there. He opened the book, revealing pages filled with strange symbols and sketches of shadowy figures. The whispers grew louder, forming words he could almost understand. Fear prickled at the back of his neck. Suddenly, a cold hand brushed his shoulder. Lucas spun around, but the room was empty. Shadows danced along the walls, flickering in the candlelight. His heart raced, and he realized the stories were not just rumors. From the corner of the room, a tall figure emerged. Its face was obscured by darkness, but its presence was undeniable. It whispered his name, low and menacing. Lucas stumbled back, his mind struggling to comprehend what he was seeing. He tried to run, but the doors slammed shut on their own. The air thickened, making it hard to breathe. Whispers turned into cries, echoing through the hallways as if the house itself was alive. Lucas found a narrow corridor lined with mirrors. Each reflection showed not him, but a twisted version of himself. He shuddered, unable to look away. The shadows behind him grew longer, stretching toward him with unnatural speed. A sudden crash made him spin around. Furniture had moved as if by unseen hands. The figure was gone, but the room felt alive with malicious intent. Every instinct screamed that he needed to escape. He sprinted up the staircase, only to find it spiraled endlessly. Rooms repeated themselves, each more decrepit and haunted than the last. His flashlight flickered, casting more shadows than it dispelled. In one room, he found a diary belonging to a girl named Eliza, who had vanished decades ago. Her final entry warned that the house never let anyone leave. Lucas realized too late that he was trapped in the same cycle. A soft, sorrowful singing began, filling the hallways. Shadows coalesced into faces of the missing, their eyes hollow and accusing. Lucas felt icy fingers brush his skin, pulling him toward the darkness. Finally, in a desperate leap, he smashed a window and fell into the overgrown garden. He scrambled away, lungs burning, looking back at the mansion. The fog seemed to shift, forming the faces of the trapped souls. Lucas knew he had survived, but the estate had left a part of itself inside him, haunting his dreams forever. Like, share, and subscribe my YouTube channel for more interesting stories.